pass from Havili was magic. The shift on for Crotty. Boom, far down you go, Quackett Smith. Me, oh my, I have enjoyed that. Yes, boy.
Sit back, relax, put your belt on, enjoy the show.
Let's get to the hookers. Nelson's domain.
You're going to do it?
But I'm going to do it.
You're going to do the hookers?
I'm going to do the hookers. Pretty easy. Man. Top of the log here, Cody Taylor.
What?
A long way top of the log here. He had
Never heard of him.
He had Crusaders, fantastic. He had 581 total points at the end of the season, and that was more than 100 clear of the next player.
180 clear.
Sorry, 180 clear. almost 200 clear of the next player. 48.4 average, as we said earlier. That's the same as just some cool cats of Richie Mo'unga and Caleb Clark. So yes, your hooker equaling Richie Mo'unga and Caleb Clark. His points per minute, 0.76 points per minute. That is outrageous. And look, I mean, things are only looking better for Cody Taylor. Andrew Makaleo, his number 2, his deputy, is out injured all season. So they need him. As Harry said at the start of this pod, All Black rest week's out the window. And look, by the end of that All Black season, as good as Cody Taylor is, it seemed like Dane Coles had picked him at the for the starting hooker jersey in the All Blacks. So, you know, he's going to be hungry as ever, and he's just going to eat up all of this game time and all of the fantasy points that are available.
Needless to say, if you pick up Cody Taylor, there is an 11-point drop to the next hooker.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that has to in itself make him one of the first few round picks.
He has to be up there. He's got to be a
when you say first few rounds, do you mean like
round one?
Round one,
he's going to be round one.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a round one pick.
Absolutely.
I think he's a top 4 player.
If you're going off, you know, his VOLP, not a VOLP, you know, VBD value based drafting, he has to be one of the top couple.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There are more outside backs that you want, but if you're going purely off statistics and what he's going to gain over other positions or equal people in his position, he's right up there.
For sure. In terms of other good hookers, I've already mentioned one of them, Dane Coles. He wasn't the second most prop, but since I'm going through the Kiwi props, average hookers. Yeah, good. All right. Well, yeah, I'm doing well. 36.1 average, 0.68 points per minute. As I just said, Grub Coles got back to the AB's starting position. And look, the only concern for him really, which, you know, I think if he hadn't just got back to the dominance and starting for the All Blacks, would have been the rise of Asafa Amua, his deputy, who's quite clearly firming up as his bench slot. There's been a lot of competition between the young Asafa Amua and Ricky Riccatelli and the Hurricanes. I think we've all said, or mainly I've said, that I just wanted Asafa Amua to move to Auckland and start every week for the Blues. But look, we can't all get what we want. So, I'm not as concerned now that I would have been if I guess Coles didn't feature as prominently in the test season. But
does it worry you that Dane Coles has already alluded to the fact that this could be his last year of professional rugby? Because if that's the case, they really need a Asafa Amua to get more minutes.
And look,
I mean, personally, I've said it before as well. I'd play Asafa Amua at halfback, at flanker. I don't really care. Get him on the field. But I think they'll need. Yeah. I think they'll need. I know Artie's captain instead of Dane, but I think they'll need Coles' leadership. They'll really need him to be playing on the field.
I made the call in, I think it was the New Zealand pod, that I think we're going to see less minutes throughout the year. I think we're going to see a little bit of a, Creevy transition out of that spot, which did take time, but he's now 34. So I'm not saying we don't see him. I'm not saying he's not going to start regularly, but I think we're going to see less and less minutes of him this year.
Yep.
So for me, top picks it's a tough one.
Fair play. The guy who I should have gone to second, Folau for Inga. We talked about him having a little bit of a... Have we talked about him? No, we haven't talked about him yet.
Not yet. You're about to.
Good. Having a little bit of a downhill trajectory in his season. You know, the top try scorer was it the season before with some
Super Rugby,
a whole of Super Rugby, 15 or something tries, insane. Look, he second top try scorer?
No, I think he was first.
Yeah. Falafel, he had 402 total points last year, 37.3 average, 0.65 points per minute. He still eats up, whether he's scoring tries or not. He makes some awesome carries, lots of tackles, and he's playing huge minutes. There certainly is some talent in the replacements of the Brumbies. We really like the youngsters, Lonergan and Billy Pollard.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not the biggest fan, but you can't really go past Connell McInerney as well, his replacement on the bench, who has done nothing but good stuff when he's come on. I mean, we all want to see Lonergan on the bench instead of McInerney, to be frank. But no, Folau, look, he has fallen out of favour. He was the starting Wallabies hooker by the end of this test season. That was BPA. So he's been given some feedback by Dave Rennie, and he will want to use this season, a successful Brumbies team winning Super Rugby AU. He'll want to use this season to really push forward those claims and get better this year. I think the Brumbies are going to see more rolling mauls, so I think he'll be good. Other top players, Jordan Ulisi, the Prince that was promised, sitting on the couch with us here. Very good. Has he got more? I think he's got a bit more hair, but
A little bit more.
Look, he finally
Showed some promise.
last season. Is that a sign for you, Nels? I don't know. But he had an average of 35 points, 0.6 points per minute. He missed the first few.
Jeez, that's big.
It's not bad.
He's not a bad player.
He missed the first few rounds of the season, so I remember there was lots of. It was difficult whether or not to pick him up in the draft because we've all been there before. They say he'll be back in round 2, and then he didn't turn up till about round 4 or 5 or something like that. So, but look, he had a pretty uninterrupted and injury-free season last year, and that flowed on to he became the bench Wallabies hooker. So had a really good year, and I think he's going to get even better if he can remain injury-free this year and play a more prominent role in the Rebels. So he's certainly one of the top picks. And lastly, Tommy Horton. Waratahs, absolutely like an agile running hooker. I think he's certainly work rate. He gets around a lot of tackles, a lot of runs, and we're excited to see what he can do. So
have you read today? It was a bit of a discussion with him. Rennie was saying he really is looking for a mobile, not a traditional hooker for the Wallabies, and that he's one of those guys that fill those roles. Wanting him to be Coles. I was
going to say he's the most Coles-like we have, for sure.
So I mean, he's getting a sniff there. He spent some time with the Wallabies last year, so he's had a bit of a sniff there. And if this doesn't push him to take that next step, it's going to be tough for him with a little bit of competition there as well.
Absolutely, and it's his second season in Super Rugby. He didn't. There was Damien Fitzpatrick retired after pre-COVID Super Rugby last year. He was kind of thrown into the fire, and look, I mean, 0.66 points per minute. That's huge. So
I thought it was exceptional.
I think he's going to get even better this year.
Our one issue is Parecki.
Dave Parecki, who's brought back.
It's yet to be seen.
It is yet to be seen. So it's actually come out in the trial. I think he had an injury. That's why he didn't play the trial. Had a niggle.
He had a neck injury. But
so this is his competition, Dave Parecki.
So I mean, again, it could be off the bench. It could be 20 minutes. The more minutes Parecki plays as a relatively experienced player, not at Super Rugby but overseas, it could hurt him. Just keep that in mind.
For sure. Yep. Biggest value increase. Now, look, I don't necessarily agree with Harry here, but Harry is super excited about and just figuring out where he can plot and pick him in the draft because he doesn't think anyone else will. Kurt Eklund, the Blues hooker who was on a kind of extended squad sort of contract last year, not even really much, but he has been moved up to full squad member and handed the starting role with James Parsons retiring. Harry, why are you so excited about Kurt Eklund?
Because he's a gun.
He's very good.
He's 28 years old, so he's more mature than a lot of the emerging hookers. Like you said, Chipper's gone.
You prefer a mature hooker, don't you?
I do.
I know what they're doing.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of parallels to how he plays and how Tommy Horton plays, except for the fact that he has a lot of history behind him in terms of level play at the Mitre 10 Cup and just footy in general because of his age. And he gets to play all the Aussie teams in the back half of the competition for the Blues, who are going to be looking to run amok. So I think that he's going to be a top 5 hooker, call it here now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like 4th or 5th.
Oh, look, I think he's quite good.
So if you don't get Cody Taylor, you're going straight for Kurt Eklund. Is that, that's the point?
Hell, he's right up there. He really is. I don't know if he's second, but he's right up there.
probably should look at his points per minute or anything like that. But other value increase, Nathan Harris. So former All Black hooker. He's come back from some injuries, and with Siegfried Fissihoy, definitely not how you say his name.
Yeah,
but is it? Okay, well, good. He with him. Wait, Fissihoy or
Come on, mate.
Takuaho?
Takeaho, yeah,
That's
you're
who
thinking
I'm
of the
going
wrong
for.
player.
Yeah.
So you did say the name really wrong.
Well, I stepped it up another level. You're the wrong person.
You're thinking of props, yeah?
Yeah, Takiaho is out injured for the whole season, so Nathan Harris coming back couldn't be at a better time. And look, he's played a leadership role. He's been at the Chiefs for many years. His value is certainly rising because he's going to play all the minutes. Look, there is Bradley Slater around, but I mean, Nathan Harris is.
I was going to say, I don't think you can count Bradley Slater out. That's the one question mark, is that Bradley Slater was pushing Takiaho for game time last year. And all of us thought Takiaho was going to hold that jersey for 80 minutes every round. I think they have big, big hopes for Bradley Slater.
Yeah, I don't.
I think he'll play 10 or 15 minutes a game, but
Sure
I
he
think
will.
he could start to take some minutes off him. That's all.
If you look at Harris over previous years, he was always high
He
20s,
wasn't-
28, 29.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but
I mean, that's not bad. If you're pushing close to 30, it's gotten you about sixth last year.
Yeah.
Sixth spot, wasn't it?
excellent. Biggest
Hooker.
biggest value drop.
Great.
Brandon Paenga-Amosa, BPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the starting Wallabies hooker with the biggest value drop. How does that happen? But no, that's with the return of a now fit Alex Murphy, who previously the Reds was. I mean, they had been sharing time back and forth, but there's a season where he was starting and absolutely killing it.
2019, he was the starter. 2018, BPA was the starter. I keep coming back to the fact that Alex Murphy's the fastest forward in the squad.
And I mean, I thought it was simple. He goes year by year. They swap who's the starter. This year it's Murphy's turn.
That's right.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, that's right.
Simple formula. So no, that's Either way, they're going to share a lot more game time, a lot more competition. So for BPA, I think we're happy to certainly say he's going to play a lot less game time this year, which sees his value go down. The Volp difference between first and eighth. Well, it's Cody Taylor with 48 points.
He's got it this time. We're proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, boys. 48.4 and 29.5. I forget who comes in at 29.5, but did you get Kurt Eklund's points per minute up or not? I thought you were
Yeah, I did. They were very good, but everyone's is very good. He's just 0.57.
Okay.
So I don't know how you compare that because, look, let's say the closest would be like a Jordan Ulisi at 0.6. That as someone that's playing big minutes. So
Yeah.
not quite as high, but Jordan Ulisi was the fourth ranked overall hooker. So again, I said he's top five. Let's call him fifth.
Okay, very good. So the Volp, he was 18.9. So it's
That's big over 8, mate.
But we did say 11 of those points was Cody Taylor to the next.
yeah.
true.
So basically,
It
we
is-
take Cody Taylor.
It is Cody Taylor, and then
7 points in the next 7 positions.
Yeah, so after Cody Taylor, don't sweat it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you don't get Cody Taylor, you don't need to rush on.
don't sweat it, but just don't let Harry get Kurt Eklund. Except I don't want Kurt Eklund, but just Nelson, don't let him get him.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent.
I'll let
And
him get
lastly, Smokies. Well, Alex Murphy. I just talked about him. I think he's ripe to get stuck in and have a really good season. So he was scoring really well in 2019 when he was starting a lot. So
Pretty well.
we'll see how he goes.